Hi, I'm John Drengenberg. I'm the Consumer Safety Director for Underwriters Laboratories, UL. I'm also an electrical engineer with many years of experience in safety testing here at UL. I have been at UL for over 50 years, devoting my life to testing for public safety. We look at fire hazards, electrical shock hazards, mechanical hazards, a variety of different hazards here at UL, all focused on keeping people safe, which is our corporate mission. We have over 11,500 people around the world working to help keep people safe. I'm just one of them. It's important that everybody understands that, in fact, there is no UL certified hoverboard on the market right now. We have requirements that are applicable to hoverboards. We have the ability to test hoverboards, but right now no manufacturer has been able to submit and get the product through quickly enough that we can say there's a certified hoverboard that you can look for. What this means is, if you're shopping for a hoverboard now, or if you're one of the about 500,000 people who bought hoverboards over the last holiday season, that hoverboard does not have UL certification, so there are certain things that you want to be sure you do with that hoverboard. Number one, if you're charging it, make sure that you charge it per the manufacturer's instructions. Never leave it charging overnight. Charge it only the amount of time specified. Make sure you use the charger that the manufacturer has provided for you. And if you're charging it, by all means, don't throw it under your bed or in a closet when you're charging it. Try to keep it away from other combustibles as much as possible, just in case something happens to go wrong. If you're shopping for a hoverboard, which many people are still doing, make sure you look for one that might be sold by a reputable retailer. Make sure that you look at some of the wording on the package or even on the product itself. If you see punctuation errors or spelling errors, or even syntax errors, that means somebody probably is just trying to get money quickly and not at all concerned about your safety. We have one that says here, don't expose to rain. Expose is spelled I-X-P-O-S-E. Now that's something that most people wouldn't do. It's phonetically correct, but in reality that is not the way we spell expose. So little tips like that, and it's a very small item, but it could be a big red flag when you're buying something like a hoverboard. Well, we've done some research on hoverboards, and certainly we know that one of the leading causes of fires most likely is the battery pack. The batteries are lithium-ion batteries. There are a lot of them because you need to power a hoverboard. Now, lithium-ion batteries are not necessarily something that is new to us. We have been testing lithium-ion batteries for safety for 10 or 15 years now. But what's new and different about hoverboards is the lithium-ion batteries in your cell phone and your laptop are a certain size, but those in the hoverboard are much bigger, and there's more lithium-ion batteries. So a fault in any one of those cells could transfer itself like a domino effect to the other cells, and that could be where the fires are starting. So we're looking at that. The tests that we do on a hoverboard, the tests that we have in our protocol for testing involve electrical tests, mechanical tests, even performance tests, and also testing of the marking to make sure the marking on the product can withstand the rigors of use by a hoverboard. Under electrical testing, we might do short circuit testing, we might do overcharge testing. We do all kinds of dielectric testing where we're stressing the various parts to make sure that they're spaced apart enough so you don't have short circuits. Under mechanical testing, we do crushing tests, we do drop testing. We even do special testing on the cells in the batteries to make sure that they are sufficiently manufactured properly so that they won't contribute to a fire. All of this is done per the standard, and the standard is available for any manufacturer who wants to look at their product and make sure that it does in fact meet these requirements before they submit it to UL if they wish. The hoverboard is evaluated considering not only the battery pack, but also the charger, considering the motors, the control circuits, the wiring inside. Even the enclosure is looked at to make sure it's sufficient to withstand the various impacts and heat that it might see in a normal operation. One of the tests we do on the individual cells is called a blunt nail test. The blunt nail test is actually a test that we use to make sure that the cell does in fact short circuit. We have to see what happens when it short circuits, so we use the blunt nail test. That test is nothing more than taking a metal pin that looks like a blunt nail and forcing it into the cell, and it gets to the point where it's doing a lot of damage internally, causing short circuits. What we're looking for is to make sure that the battery is designed such that it will vent properly, that it won't explode. And by venting, we mean there might be a little weak surface on it that allows the built-up pressure to escape, like in a balloon. If it escapes properly, that means it won't involve the other cells in the battery pack. So it's a very important test, a very important concept, that this one cell be manufactured with the proper dimensions, the proper construction, such that it will vent the buildup of energy in the battery properly. The projectile test is a test on one cell. It's a cell that's put on a screen, and underneath the screen is a Bunsen burner, a burner with a flame. It will actually heat the cell to the point where it gets so hot that it will likely explode. When it explodes, we want to make sure that the particles that are projected from this cell do not penetrate the screen that surrounds this test. If one small part penetrates the screen, it's a failure, meaning that there's too much energy, too much of a chance for this cell to cause other cells in the battery pack to malfunction and cause a major fire. Counterfeit UL logo is something that we take very seriously. We have the UL mark, which many consumers, retailers, distributors, and manufacturers rely on, and they look for it. And there are 22 billion UL marks on products every year, so there are many of them. The amount of counterfeiting is a small part of that 22 billion, but any one counterfeit product could put somebody in danger of getting injured or killed. That's why UL is very aggressive. We work with U.S. Customs and Border Protection in the United States. We work with Interpol in Europe. We work with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in Canada. We work with other countries to make sure that we can stem this trend of counterfeiting. Now, only a few hoverboards have been counterfeited, but we are working on that. We're very aggressive with counterfeiters, as I say. The fact is, putting a UL mark on a hoverboard, if you see one, if you've got one that has a UL mark, that is a counterfeit, because none of them to date have been certified, and none of them are able to carry the UL mark either on the product or on the packaging. And this could affect the safety of the people using that product, and that's what concerns us. You mentioned different purses and maybe even DVDs that could get counterfeited. That is one thing. They're stealing from those manufacturers. But the fact is, when you counterfeit a UL mark, you're not just stealing from the manufacturer, you're also jeopardizing the public as far as their safety goes. And that's something that customs officials know very well. They're very interested in looking for counterfeit UL marks and stopping that from happening. And so is UL. We work on that very hard. UL is happy to talk with manufacturers of hoverboards. We have standards in place. We have lab facilities, 94 of them around the world. Over 11,500 people work for Underwriters Laboratories, so we're able to do the testing. We've got the know-how, we've got the expertise. We're the ones that set the safety standards for many, many products, and now including hoverboards. We call them self-balancing scooters. That's the name of the standard, but that pertains to hoverboards. So we're ready to do that work. The Consumer Product Safety Commission of the United States is behind this effort, and certainly we're happy to work with anyone to get those hoverboards on the market so people can enjoy them.